Dominic, in terms of the UN vote first, what weight will it carry with the Israelis, bearing in mind the Americans have abstained?
Well, the Israelis have said that they will act in their own interests, and they have carried on firing into Gaza. We've heard the heavy artillery. There goes another one. And ground forces fighting in Gaza. They are not going to stop until Hamas stops, and Hamas are not going to stop until Israel stops. We've just seen in the last 2 minutes one more Qassam rocket or Grad missile launching from the busy urban skyline behind me, and the sirens have gone off in Ashkelon. So neither side are respecting this ceasefire. The conflict goes on. The only thing that is likely to put more pressure on Israel is the fact that America is saying it abstained from this vote because it wants to see where the Egyptian-French mediation process goes. At the heart of that are these plans to seal the southern border between Gaza and Egypt. If they can manage to come up with something that will guarantee to securities, to Israelis, that weapons will not be smuggled through that border, then the Israelis will then have something to say to the Israeli public that they've got out of this conflict, and that will encourage them to declare a unilateral ceasefire. But at the moment, this conflict very much is continuing today.
And looking at that Egyptian plan, which, as you said, Condoleezza Rice certainly pointed to as the best hope at the moment, it doesn't address, of course, the fact the Israelis keep saying there are hundreds of missiles already stockpiled within Gaza.
Well, that's, of course, a problem for the Israelis, and also the fact that Hamas can make them. I mean, the Israelis can say they've sealed the border, or they have done so with Egyptian and American help, but, as you say, there are lots of rockets in there, and these Hamas teams can carry on making them. But Israel is looking for something out of this. They're not going to be able to stop the rocket fire completely, but if they can say to the Israeli public that they've sealed the border, that will weaken Hamas, possibly terminally, because Hamas makes most of its money out of the smuggling through from Egypt. It's strengthened Hamas enormously. If they can cut that line completely, it will do enormous damage to Hamas, possibly terminally. Now, for the people of Gaza, though, the big concern today is the fact that the United Nations Relief Agency has suspended operations because its convoys have repeatedly been fired upon by the Israelis, even though the Israelis have guaranteed their safe passage. They have suspended all operations. Hundreds of thousands of Gazans depend on food aid from the United Nations. They've not been able to get it because they haven't dared come out of their homes because of the risk of being caught in the fighting, and now the UN isn't even able to distribute that food aid. So the humanitarian crisis could now turn into a disaster with hundreds of thousands of people not able to get to food.
And what justification have the Israelis given for what, as you said, the UN themselves have said have been these attacks on these convoys?
Yeah, well, we've had a number of incidents. We had 2 days ago an incident where the UN Relief Agency said they were given the green light to send their trucks down to Kerem Shalom to bring in the food aid. They were then fired upon, and then yesterday it seems 2 incidents, both near the Erez border crossing. One was a team of forklift operators and other terminal workers who were sent by Israel up to the Erez crossing and told they would have safe passage. They were fired upon, and then a UN-flagged convoy was also hit as well. Now, the Israelis have said that they are looking into these claims and reports, but they don't know for sure that it was Israeli fire. So all they're saying at the moment is they're investigating. But in that vacuum of information and any kind of guarantee that the UN feel they've got from the Israelis, they're having to suspend operations today.